Welcome back, kind of, to Everybody Loves Raymond. My name is Alex. I'm joined with my two friends, as always, Adam.
Hello.
And Mike.
That's a me.
And gentlemen, I have called you here today, not because we have watched an episode of Raymond, or because of many of
the... Oh, thank God.
I know, right?
We're here to promote, as Mike may have given away, we're here to promote the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is in theaters now.
Starring Ray Romano.
Oh, I wish.
Starring Ray Romano doing an impression of Chris Pratt, doing his best at Mario.
Well, thank you guys for dating this recording.
No, I think the Super Mario Brothers movie will be in theaters now for perpetuity. I think
it's gonna save movies.
It'll be like a Rocky Horror thing.
The midnight showing of the Mario Brothers movie, you throw coins at the screen instead of... That actually could be fun, actually. I'm not going to lie
to you. If you're throwing coins at the screen, you can't have people, like, you know, at Rocky Horror, they'll have people in the front, like, doing dancing along to it or whatever. That would become quickly an assault, and things would have to
That's
be,
just the risk you have to do. That's just the risk you have to take. No, if you get hit with a coin, you gotta make the da 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 sound, and then you gotta go to the back of the line. That's how.
Back of the line.
Can you tell we didn't have a plan going into this?
Let's start over.
Oh, what the heck? That was good. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, that was just 5 minutes of nonsense.
Yeah, that's our show. What are you talking about?
Nonsensical free association? That doesn't sound like us at all.
One more time from the top, and I'm serious this time. Welcome back to Everybody Loves Raymond. My name is Alex, as always, and I am joined here with my two friends, Mike.
Hello.
And Adam.
It's a me.
Now, folks, I was the one who called this meeting into place today. We are just hanging out. We're taking a break from kind of our overarching, narratives and improvs and characters and jokings and all that fun stuff. No Raymond today, even. Nothing at all.
Don't know what you're talking about. This is thought the show was an accurate representation of our lives. What are you talking about here, Alex?
Well, believe it or not, Mike, we are performers.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah, shocking.
Fellas, I've asked you guys to come here today because we're going to take a pretty big break, at least a couple weeks, probably on the longer slide compared to what we did between season 1 and 2, before we jump into the third season, which we're very excited for, but we do need a break. But I thought we would kind of chat with each other and kind of send it out there to the people that listen and kind of just update them and kind of how we're feeling about the show and kind of how it's been. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, our show turned 1 recently.
Yeah, that's true.
Did it actually?
Yeah. April 24th.
When did we start this thing?
April 24th.
Oh my God. Right? That's actually, wow, that's crazy. Does not feel like we've been doing this for a full year.
No, it hasn't.
What a stupid project to be dedicating a full year of our lives to. It's been fun, but yeah, this is
we have way more than that to go. So kind of this is kind of like a season 1 and 2 retrospective, but it's also kind of just like a first year anniversary retrospective, because so much has changed since the beginning of this series, and I don't think we've really talked about kind of the culmination of this series and kind of how it began and kind of our behind the scenes about it since like maybe the first episode when it was a very different show. I thought it'd be fun for us to kind of just share a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes and kind of how we're doing, not as our characters, quote unquote, but just as ourselves, and kind of get that connection with the people that care enough to listen.
Yeah, a couple minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago now, you said you misspoke and you used the word slide instead of side, and
I did notice that as well.
Wait, what did I do?
Yeah, that was really funny.
And I held my tongue because you said we're not supposed to do any jokes this episode. And
I didn't be like, I don't want to be like no jokes, but
yeah, I know, but my character, the character that I play, who's completely different from me, would have jumped in there and said something about, how we do this show on a slide, and that slide obviously swirls around a couple times, loop to loop, and then ends up, of course, in a pool. where we float for the most part. And of course, I'm going to cut myself off now because I'm continuing
it's okay,
to free
Adam.
associate here.
Adam, it's okay. We're going to let this one slide.
Okay,
Guys,
I will take off my grease paint now and step down from the proscenium.
I sincerely do not even know, like, what did I misspeak? Like, side?
I honestly don't remember what you meant to say.
I don't even
I also
remember
just filed
saying
it
that
away.
word. I don't even remember saying that word. That's scary.
But
Well,
it's okay.
I'm glad we took, a couple minutes out to make fun of me for being an idiot, which, yes, believe it or not,
I think the audience wants.
off
I think
the
the
air.
audience really wants to see this slide of you.
Yeah, no. Off the air, I'm usually the idiot instead of Mike, who is the punching bag on the show.
Don't listen. I'm an idiot in real life too, as you all are well aware at this point. But yeah,
Yeah. So going back to, I want to go back to season 1 real quick. Picture like the week before we started. I remember how this all began. Adam messaged you and me, Mike, on I think just on Facebook because
I believe if my memory serves me right, Adam messaged us at 3 a.m, which
Maybe.
the majority of things that Adam has sent me individually at 3 a.m. that have made my life better. Every time I wake up to a message from Adam and it says 3:32 a.m., I know, oh, thank God, this is going to be a good day. Because,
Wow.
Adam, if you remember, I don't know if you want to say this, but the songs that you have written me all have come through
Oh yeah,
to my
the songs
phone.
that I've written about you.
Yes. You know the two in particular I'm talking
Oh
about.
yeah, of course.
The one song that says nothing except the words, Michael G is the one thing standing in the way of peace between Israel and Palestine over and over and over again over
and
a
it's a
dubstep remix.
banger. That's
a banger.
the scary thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't ever play it because I don't want to.
No,
And
that's
the other
that's just,
one was also Michael G wants to party or something like that. That also came through very early hours in the morning.
Yeah. I'm barely legal and I'm looking to party. My name is Michael.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one.
I'm a certified inspector of the female body. I think I just called it. My name is Michael.
Oh, that one. That one. Yeah.
Anyway.
But that being said, Adam has previously sent through many, many great ideas, many great creations at the wee early hours in the morning. This was no exception. This started because we had done a couple podcasts together. We started the Post Fun Network on a podcast that Alex and I had started that really never took off, but it was fun to do, called The Weekly Undertaking.
It actually, the Weekly Undertaking ran for almost 3 years, and the total downloads are now less than this podcast in like a third of the time, and it's not even close.
Yeah, this podcast.
This show did so much better,
and like, don't get me wrong,
what's
The Weekly
different
Undertaking
about
was
it?
fun. Yeah,
and it
Well,
taught
listen,
us kind of
not for nothing.
how to podcast.
Not for nothing. Don't get me wrong. I love The Weekly Undertaking. I'm glad we did it. Adam is the one that continually makes fantastic podcasts. If anybody listening has not listened to the Mid-Valley Sound, go listen to it right freaking now, because it's one of the funniest things that I've listened to in a very long time.
That's very nice. I'm trying to. It's all of our podcasts are on postfun.org. I don't remember what the / is for those specific podcasts, but
You can find them really easy.
yeah, postfun.org.
So
But the long and short of it that I remember is basically Adam stopped doing the Mid-Valley Sound. We had stopped doing the Weekly Undertaking. There was a third one was put out.
We had the originals feed that we did one pilot for, and then the pandemic happened, and then we did not pursue doing any more stuff for it.
Right.
And in fact, that is sort of the reason why I wanted to do another podcast, was because we've been paying for this hosting.
Yeah.
And we're not doing anything with it.
It was either cancel everything and kind of delete what we had, or just keep going and do something what started as like kind of like low key and easy, like low effort.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
how this show was born.
Yeah, let's go through it then. Like originally, we did think that we were gonna do a traditional episode by episode recap podcast of Everybody Loves Raymond, because we do all like Everybody Loves Raymond very much, and we have the organic in of you two being, growing up in the town that the show is based in. Mm-hmm. I think at the time I thought it was an interesting hook that Mike watched it when it aired, I watched it in syndication, and Alex watched it on Netflix. Like, oh, that's what's going to be different about these three guys, is that they all watch the show in different ways.
It doesn't come up that much.
It really doesn't. But that was the start of it, was let's just put something out that's going to be easy to do.
The whole first episode, we talk about how little a shit we give.
Yeah, we.
I mean, genuinely, it's so funny to me that the pilot episode here, like I've every time we every so often, I really like to look back. I'm like, we started out, the thesis statement of the show is, we don't care. We want to watch a show and talk about it. And if you can't handle it, screw you. And then we flash back to, all right, so after we talk about how the Winnebago merges with the Rob Boat Roan and turns into Voltron so that we can attack the flat earthers and French people who are teaming up because they want to murder Mike. Like, I occasionally just like sit back and wonder. I'm just like, what the fuck happened?
Spoilers for our season 2 finale, by the way.
Yeah, I hope no one
This
would.
was released after.
I know, but still, that's 3 hours. They may not have finished it yet.
I did
All right,
find.
if you haven't listened to it, go back.
I noticed that the length of our finale episode is 1 minute shorter than The Irishman. So there's a Ray Romano connection there.
Damn it, we were so close to greatness.
Close. I mean, I'm sure there's a minute there that I could put back in, but like keep in mind, like, and here's the behind the scenes thing is that episode came out of 4.5 hours of unedited audio. Mm-hmm. And then
And what did it pan down to at the end?
3.5.
Okay.
Which
that's so funny.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, no, I
still.
like Mike, you do have to listen to like some of like the highlights of that, just because some of Adam's editing was so good.
I am working through it as we speak. I'm only about a half hour in, but I am working through it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's The Irishman. You gotta break it apart. I fucking love that is true.
Regardless, like kind of what I've wanted to like kind of talk about was like, in the beginning, the whole idea was just like easy, low effort. We get in, we talk for an hour and a half, we have fun, make a few laughs along the way, and then get out. And then slowly, about halfway through season 1, I think, is when we kind of really started leaning into the improv side of things. I think it came very natural to us because all three of us have experience with improv, obviously.
Yeah. No. What the real moment that really came in was that one episode we did in the Stallone Zone, which just became out of logical necessity because we had a guest that Adam interviewed, and then Alex and I couldn't make it for a variety of reasons. So we were like, all right, we need to come up with a justification as to why Alex and Mike are coming back in a different time than the interview is happening. And we came up with the Stallone Zone, and from there it was just literally like to the races, just any wild thing that we could possibly think up.
From there, we were in a skyscraper, it went to space, then we got a car, and then, I mean,
declared war on the Impractical Jokers, who then made an alliance with O.J. Simpson and Rudy Giuliani, and then launched and then, tried to get up to the sky before they got Tower of Babbled by God himself.
So by the
end of season 1.
Yeah. By the end of season 1, we had already shifted from like this not giving a shit to giving probably too much of a shit for the size of the audience that we still have, which is big. Yeah. Biggest we've ever had by far, and we appreciate it and love you all.
I remember we started this podcast. I believe we said to ourselves, if we could get 30 regular listeners, we would consider this a success beyond our wildest imaginations. And now that's not, as big as, like, it's certainly not Joe Rogan, but at the same time, Holy crap! I can't believe it.
I can't either. My absolute favorite, like this can be difficult, like shooting, because we all lead very busy lives outside of this recording. But like my absolute favorite thing that comes out of this is that when like every once in a while, Adam will send us like a message that he got from like one of you guys who listened, like talking about, like either like talking about Raymond facts or like sending like a little like, oh, I like the show, good job guys. And it's like those little things, like it all kind of becomes real to me, where it was like, oh wow, we are like giving
there are
people in the world
entertainment,
and there are people who, like, I like to think we're making their days a little bit more fun just for a little while, and that is,
I would hope so,
literally the only thing I want to do in this world. Just make your life a little bit better.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Thanks, Mike. I know.
Welcome.
Yeah. Anyway, so we started season 2, and I'm just gonna keep going with our timeline here. We started season 2 a while ago, and we went in with a huge game plan. We had kind of this outline of like, all right, I'm gonna run for mayor. Mike is gonna be hated by the French/flat earthers, and Adam's...
No, we didn't have that. We started out with just the idea of like, Mike's a flat earther now. Let's see where that goes.
You're right. Yeah, it was just literally, that was the only bullet point. You're a flat earther.
Yeah.
That lasted
a
a very small amount of time before kind of everything went haywire.
Everything spiraled out of control. Yeah.
And Adam was living at the trailer park. And that was kind of like, we all kind of had like 3 jumping off points, and then we kind of just decided to go where it is. It's amazing to me, just like kind of how we have, like, this show changed so much from season 1 to season 2. And I think around halfway through season 2, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think the 3 of us kind of realized that the style we were doing is a little unsustainable for a long-term podcast like this.
The funny thing is, you guys are going to see this next season. You're absolutely right, Alex. But the reason why it's unsustainable is because we collectively determined the normal part of the show is too boring.
The normal part of the show, the normal part of the show, like, is the part that kind of like slowed us down creativity wise. Like we all like flourish and love the first half of the show. Like that's kind of our baby, where it should be fucking insane. And the second half of the show is more like that, like breakdown stuff that like at least I felt like I couldn't be like as comedic and like expressive there. So we've really been workshopping, and this is just a little taste, really been workshopping a way for us to kind of have our cake and eat it too. It's going to make our lives a little bit easier, because we're working very hard on this podcast that we said we weren't going to care about.
That is true. Adam, what was the moment that you really remember, like, you thinking to yourself, this is a fun show to do?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, so from season 1, from the pilot, where we were really just doing as straight, I mean, it was a little, we were trying to have fun within the framework of the traditional TV rewatch podcast of like, I think we came up with Judge Deborah in episode 4 or something. But I think around episode 7, we did our first like improv sound effects bit.
With the Stallone zone.
Well, no, that was the turning point where we decided to absolutely lose our minds. But we started doing there were little things sprinkled through that I realized on the post-production end of it were fun to put together. And that was the first time that we opened up this idea that the environment that we were recording the show was not necessarily, 3 guys over Zoom doing a podcast. It was, a world, and we're starting to build this world.
And what a world we have built.
And just the way that we have done it up to this point of, we talk for a couple minutes beforehand and sort of lay out the scenario and then improvise within that, has been really fun to think in that sort of overarching narrative way of, okay, so last time we did this, this time, we sort of have tried to base it on the events of the episode. This time, this was about...
Very loosely.
Well, yeah. Honestly, the most one-to-one thing we did was the Berenmo, when we did the checkbook episode. That whole first half of the episode is about you mismanaging our finances. So that's the most one. But we always try to have like a little kernel.
But we also have those other episodes where it turns out that Alex had an orgy with all of Santa's elves. And that really isn't in the midst of a political campaign. That really doesn't make an appearance in a Raymond episode.
Some are a little more close than others. And by the way, by total coincidence, I am wearing my ugly Christmas shirt in April. In between the months of March and November, this is a sleeping shirt.
Well, maybe it was on your brain, given the fact that in universe, Santa and Billy Joel just rescued us from an angry mob and flew us to Jamaica.
Regardless, I like that we have an established canon. The last thing I really wanted to ask you guys is, like, aside from the obvious one, what is your favorite memory on this show?
What's the obvious one?
Steve Scroven.
Oh, yeah.
I keep genuinely, you're right. That was my proudest moment, that we got to interview a writer.
I had people who I haven't talked to in like multiple people like contact me being like, you interviewed like an actual writer of the show? That's insane. Like people who I had no idea listened to the podcast.
It's a weird, like, in-between spot, right? Because we were very conscious of the fact at that time, season 1, episode 18, that the show was organically changing to something that was less about Everybody Loves Raymond. And we were using our time differently. And yet this is the first...
That episode, I think we all had like a 30-minute powwow before then where it's like, all right, we can't be too fucking weird. We don't want to scare this guy off.
No one mentioned the Barone Zone.
Yeah, and that had been in the works for a little while. Like, I had started reaching out to him maybe 4 episodes prior, where the show was still... This is Everybody Loves Raymond rewatch podcast. We're here to learn about Everybody Loves Raymond. And then he was nice enough to talk to us, and that is our sort of like grasp at legitimacy as far as like Everybody Loves Raymond fan, bona fides go. But then we honestly have not really pursued getting other writers on, getting cast members on, because we've just been having so much fun with the other part of the show.
Don't get it twisted. I would love to keep interviewing people who were involved in the show. And
that'd be fun.
And I promise everyone listening, if we get that opportunity to interview anyone else from the show, we are taking it in a heartbeat. I'm not saying we're not doing that ever again. I'm saying that it's not something we are actively trying to do.
I'm still just in awe that I was on a Zoom call with somebody and I could see his Emmys in the background. Like,
that is insane.
That's just so
it's
weird.
So cool. Yeah.
Who would have thought that you would ever be talking to an Emmy Award winner? And for a good reason.
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. For a good reason? What would be a bad reason? Do you think Anderson Cooper would interview me from my jail cell? Is that what you're implying?
No, I'm sort of picturing like, what came to mind is from Drake and Josh, but you hitting Oprah with your car would be like, that's the sort of energy that you would, I would think, bring to a interaction with an Emmy Award winner.
Now, my luck, Oprah would hit me and still sue me.
Oprah would hit you. That's what a lot of people don't know about Oprah, is she hits and runs people all the time, but she throws them the keys and she says, you get my car, and then she runs away down the street.
And she, exactly.
A lot of people don't know that about Oprah.
I still do want to know, guys, aside from, interviewing Scroven, what did you guys have like a moment that you guys remember fondly from the show? Anything you just want to like reminisce on, small or big, anything at all?
I'm still proud of my flatbread joke.
What's your
Flatbread
flatbread
joke?
joke?
We were this was from the first episode of season 2 when we were talking, and I was just because like we had discussed, the only plot point I had for going into season 2 was I was going to continue the flat earth thing that I momentarily mentioned at the end of season 1, and that was kind of it. You all had like these big plot points of like, Alex was like, I'm going to run for mayor, I'm going to do this and this, and Adam was like, I'm going to do this and this, and I was like, I think I'm a flat earther.
That's not what happened.
You had like 2 or 3 things.
I had one.
That you wanted to
my
do.
Jumping off point was I am embracing the RV lifestyle, and
I thought there was one other bullet point that you had.
No, I had like the general idea of I'm going to embrace the RV lifestyle, and that means bringing my RV to an RV park, which,
right.
You know, in retrospect, that fizzled out fast.
Yes.
Once I met Pastrami, but.
Though I do the Romeo and Juliet bit was still pretty funny. I still like that.
Yeah, I would have liked to have paid that off, but you know, that's the nature of this sort of thing. There are too many details.
7 more seasons.
We kind of just grab whatever is the most fun in the moment. And we kind of just go from there.
There's too many details to follow up on all of them, but I liked the ones that we did. I you know, I'll steal Mike's answer and say season 2, episode 1 was maybe my favorite. Finding out in the moment that Mike, or our justification of the reason Mike discovered this flat earth meeting was because he was going into the Starbucks bathroom that he regularly shits in emergency situations.
And that is amazing, because now from like once we get to like season, like the end of the show, like in however many years, we can then trace back everything to that one moment of Mike going into that bathroom.
That's true.
And that being kind of the catalyst for everything.
I was gonna say that like
the flatbread joke.
The flatbread joke, came down to, it was like, you guys were like, oh, well, that was weird. You gonna go back? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. They gave me a punch card, and you know, if I go to 10 meetings, I get a free sandwich. And Alex said, what kind of sandwich? And I was stumped for like half a second. I was like, flatbread. And I was like, that's I think the best joke I've ever made. I think
that
was great. I wasn't even setting you up for it. I was just legitimately curious. I was very impressed with that. That's awesome.
Alley-oop dunk. We did it. We did that one.
Oh yeah,
that was a good moment.
And when I pressed you on the who it is that is perpetuating the round Earth myth, and you said the world people.
The world people, yeah. That's the name. Right. That's the name of the episode. And that also started a fun little tradition with our naming scheme, which I think we're going to continue with, right, Adam?
Yeah, I don't see any
basically like the best joke of the episode is the title of that week's episode.
The most. And
I love that, just because like it gives you a little bit of intrigue, and it's not just like a bland title. I have 2 like kind of little favorites that I wanna talk about. One's a lot more broader than the other. The broad subject is, I love the continual expansion on the Henderson family.
Yeah.
And I think we just got to keep going with it as we move forward. I think we need to introduce a new section of the family every season.
I don't know what I feel about when we actually. I don't know how I feel about actually meeting Mrs. Henderson, because I do love the bit though.
We met Mrs. Henderson.
Guy. Yeah, no, I know. At the during the most recent
rally,
episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I deeply loved just this poor fucking guy that's just getting cucked by every single person in the town of Limburg. It's just such a funny, like, horrible, but it's such a funny character to me. It really is. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Alex.
That's okay. I love that. But I think my favorite singular episode to record was the debate with Tyrone Dickey.
Oh, that was so fun. Was so fun.
Schneider's performance as Tyrone Dickey was so amazing. And that whole first chunk of that episode felt, I think, the most like just like a straight up improv game.
Yeah.
Where like it was a closed environment we all kind of just got to like go crazy with it and have like a little bit of a structured like argument, and it was so fun. And trying to keep up with you guys was awesome because, again, a little bit behind the scenes of the 4 people on that episode, I'm definitely the least experienced improvisationalist. So kind of trying my best to kind of keep up with you guys. It makes me better. You know, it was also part of the reason I love this podcast actually is also because, like, yes, we get to talk about Raymond, we get to goof around, but it's also like Alex joined this group later, but like we had our own little, most of the guests we have, can I say this, are from the Bad Astronauts improv troupe. Like it's like Adam Schneider and I all are from from that improv troupe, and I was glad that we got to play together again for some reason other than, just because, just fucking around. We're all over the world now, so it's something. Yeah.
I think, and Alex, for what it's worth, I do think you've shown yourself since we've started doing this, and then even before, to be a very like quick mind, and you're a good improviser, and I'm glad I'm not having to use this opportunity to tell you that you either need to go take 101 or you're fired.
Listen, Alex, we love that you're on this podcast. Have you really ever considered being funny? That's the real thing we're missing.
When I do have an episode, when I do have like a joke or like a line in an episode that like I'm really proud of, I will like go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I can't fucking believe the shit I say.
It's that's the magic of improv.
It is the magic of improv, and and I feel like I don't say this ever, but it is quite an honor to be with you two here on this journey, and I know there's only bright skies ahead as we move forward towards the 3rd season of ELR and beyond. Anything else you want to say to our listeners before we shove off for the night?
I'd like to say it's incredible that anybody is stuck with this show from season 1, episode 9 onwards. Because we are really doing our own thing and doing it in the way that is fun for us, and it's nice to see that people did not immediately abandon us once we started doing that. And in fact, our audience has only grown.
A significant number did abandon us. We just found a lot cooler.
Yeah, they were replaced by people with a sense of humor and fun.
We've been very, very stable for the whole 2nd season. Like, I don't think we've had a huge dip at any point in the week. We've just been growing. Very healthy.
I thought that we had that one thing where we said something very explicit about semen one episode, and we had everybody. Oh well,
that's retention. So that's, speaking of semen, that's retention. And that we do have this information. We can confirm that in the first 90 seconds of that episode, when Mike and I are talking about sucking and fucking, we lost maybe 75% of the audience.
Which, to be 100% clear, I get it. Like, I'm not blaming anybody at all for that. That is a fair thing of just like, I'm going to work. I don't need this right now.
It's just like,
not what I thought it was.
Valid.
We could have, we if we ever need a week off, we could literally just record 3 minutes of explicit talk like that, and then just fill the rest of the 2 hours with just silence, and no one would know.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that is fair.
I did not expect we'd get here. My life, I'm not into huge details, but my IRL life has changed so much since we started. Like, if I think back to where we were like a year ago, where I was in my life when we started this show, so much has changed in such a short amount of time for me. And it's amazing that once again, I can kind of catalog my adventures through podcast episodes instead of months and years.
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks for sticking with us on this wild ride, and I promise it only gets crazier and more fun from here. We're going to keep working hard for all of you guys, and we really appreciate y'all.
I think I tried to work it out in my head today, but I think I've spent close to 1,000 hours editing this show.
Good God, man.
Like, it does take, like, the finale took me 20 hours to edit, and it's nice to see that people appreciate that.
No, hold
Yeah.
on a second. Let me clarify that. Adam puts a lot of work into the show. Adam is the super hard worker, and he's absolutely crushing it. So, in case
Thank
we
you.
don't say it enough, Adam, you're doing a really good job, and we really
Thank
appreciate you.
so much. This show does not exist without Adam.
It is
Literally.
true.
That is true.
Like, Mike and I do a little bit here and there, but it like most of the work is Adam.
Oh, it's like 95%.
Yes.
It's
Adam,
like,
yeah.
I would say it's like 90% me, 8% Alex,
And then I'm here.
1% the listeners. Well, actually, it's 0.4% the listeners. It's 1.5% goes to Stripe Climate, and then 0.1 goes to Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
fair, that's fair.
I do the cover art.
Yeah, you do a lot.
You do the cover. Yes, that's true. And I'm here.
You provide
yeah.
your bubbly personality
Absolutely.
I do indeed.
and unique insights.
Yeah, I guess the last thing is, like Adam, you mentioned it, but like we do have an affiliate link if like anyone, if you are interested in like starting a podcast and would like,
Or if you
like,
have a podcast.
or if you have a podcast and would like a host, we are always looking for more shows to kind of tie in our network and
Open
pitch
invitation.
pitch us something. We are here for it. It doesn't have to be anything specific. We're pretty.
doesn't have
we're
to be
pretty
TV.
open.
Doesn't have to be
If
We
you've
have-
listened to this podcast, you know we're weird as hell. Like, anything. Like, show us anything.
We have even a specific backslash for that. If you go to postfund.org/join, the form there is if you want to pitch us anything or send us a link to a show that you're already doing, or you did like I don't know if anyone but us has done podcast pilots, but if you did a pilot and want to send it to us, we'll absolutely take it.
Regardless, this is taking way too long. I wanted this to be like 10 minutes of reminiscing, and it's turned into much more than that. But that's fine,
it's been
because that just means more for you. So thank you all so much. And like I said, we're going to take a couple weeks, recuperate, relax, catch up on some Baronis Zonuses that we're getting ahead of it. And then we'll see you all early June.
June 8th.
For June 8th.
Oh,
for
did you
season
mention
3.
we are moving to Thursday? We are moving to Thursday. That's the big news because, as mentioned, it takes several hours to edit this show.
And we usually record on Mondays.
We record
or
on
Tuesdays.
Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, which is a nightmare for me. But so we're
It's amazing. We started out recording like 3-4 weeks in advance in the beginning.
Oh yeah, we had a huge bank at one point.
and we just like there was at one point when we had to take like 2 weeks off, and we didn't want to we couldn't catch up from there.
We take this very seriously. It is a lot of work, and
Absolutely,
we
don't take breaks unless we really.
We
need
really have not the Christmas break that we took was the first planned extended break that we've ever taken. And
without aside from like the season 1 to season 2.
Yeah, and it tremendously helped all of our mental health, I think. So it's definitely
Yeah, and that just helps us. That just helps us not burn out. Because if we're burned out, then the show's bad and you're sad.
Very true.
Bars.
Anyway, go to bed. It's probably late when you're listening to this. Good night.
Or you're going to work.
Or you just woke up.
Yeah. Good morning. Or good night.
All right. Have a good day or sleep.
Yeah, we love you.
And until next time, until June 8th, don't forget, everybody
Loves
Raymond, and we love you.
love you.
I didn't know we were doing that. That's cool. All right.